Welcome welcome all to episode 20 of the Mates Rates podcast. I hope you are all doing amazingly. You're doing well. You're staying healthy. And yeah, that's it. That's the podcast. Wrap it up, folks. Now, I've done that joke way too many times. But yeah, crazy. Holy shit. I have sat in this chair and talked for 20 episodes, which is crazy. So, yeah, I'm stoked that I've gone this far and I'm keen to do more episodes with you. So now that we've got the formalities out of the way, I want to start off this podcast by shouting out a fellow creative, a fellow artist, a good friend of ours, Maddie Ryan. I'm going to get her Instagram up real quick so I can do the shout out properly. It would have been really good if I actually fucking did this prior to it. So, Maddie Ryan Art. That's who you need to fucking look up right now because she got these really dope mugs right here that say, I'm doing my best. Because honestly, I really am. But yeah, really cool design. And I just thought it would be like a nice, instead of the fucking drink bottle, I'd do this nice mug. So, thanks. Thanks, Maddie. Shout out to you. Sorry if you're listening to the audio version for it, but oh, that's some nice, fresh, cold water because I've already had my coffee. So if I have another one, I'm going to have an anxiety attack right here on the podcast, which could be a fun experiment if you want to know what it's like to witness that in real life. Anyways, yeah, shout out to Maddie. And there's like a whole bunch of like, I guess it's the coolest thing about being a creative is like all your creative mates are just constantly trying to put out shit that they love. And yeah, I'm just stoked that I have like that network of friends really. Whether it be like, this t-shirt, for example, like my homie Edgewell, he used to work at this tattoo shop, doesn't anymore, but I was like, I had to support the man, got tattooed, paid for it, paid for the shirt as well, send him my love. And yeah, so all I'm trying to say is if you aren't in a creative field, it sucks to suck, really. Nah, it's fine. But yeah, when Maddie sent this stuff, actually, she had like some lino artwork. I think that's what it's called. Now, I'm going to explain it because I'm pretty sure everyone in high school that did art did this. And I'm pretty sure art is compulsory. But you had to get that like little scalpel thing and you had that like brown mat thingy and you used to like stab art out of it. And then you'd get like a rolling pin, put some ink over it, and bam, press it on some paper, and there's your artwork. So hopefully that has rejigged some memories. Maybe they don't do that at school anymore because something else when that happened was those knives were so fucking sharp. They were like scalpels, really. So I just remember as a teenager being like, this is too dangerous for teenagers to have. It's the same as like scalpels, really. I don't know if it's just like the way my mind thinks, but that's just like a recipe for disaster. You don't want to give the quiet kid one of those like lino tools or scalpels because that kid, that the bully, it's a wrap, it's right in the neck. Maybe, I don't know. Some crazy shit probably happens in schools now. That's something else I'm kind of like, I think about every now and then. I don't think about kids. Don't think about kids. So fucking everyone just calm down and don't call the cops, okay? But I think about like how different the school environment is now compared to how it was when I was in school. Like obviously, you still got the hierarchy, you still got the bullies and the nerds and the fucking like the burnouts and all that type of shit. But I'm just wondering if those like, I don't know, like are kids more violent now? Are they not as violent now? Something else that like I thought of as well is when I turned 18 and I was able to go to the pub. So growing up, and it still is true, like, and I've said it in previous podcast episodes, my town was very localized. Now, when I was like 18 and you go to the pub and you see someone and you know they're not from there, it's fucking game on. So there were punch-ons every fucking week. It was like a sport, you know what I mean? You wake up Saturday morning to go to the cricket, but the night before you go to the pub, you have a couple of pints to warm up, and then you just start punching on with people. That's just how it was for me growing up. But I have learned from relatives, like, you know, my cousins and stuff like that kind of come through after. They're like, oh, everyone's like kind of chill now. And I'm like, oh, it's a lot different than what it was when I was your age, but that's good, right? Progress, you know, like people not being dicks because someone's from a different town. Anyways, I was thinking like, yeah, maybe schools aren't as violent now, but like having those sharp tools as a teenager when you're got all that testosterone pumping through your body as going through puberty and stuff. Fuck, how is there probably has been incidents, but schools really want to keep that shit under wraps because they're like, this could end our school if this gets out. I remember when I was thinking of like this note when I was writing it out, I remember when I was in year 7, I think it was, a kid brought a knife to school and it was like a big fucking deal. Like, you know, parents were called. I think cops were called from memory. But yeah, like that's just kind of how it was for me kind of growing up. And like, I wasn't surprised because some of the kids were just like brutal to each other, even to me. Like, I'm surprised I didn't fucking bring a knife to school. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm really not surprised because I'm like, yeah, well, you know, you piss that kid off and that's what happens. So anyways, I just thought of that tangent of like, you know, how dangerous these tools are for teenagers. And yeah, that was that bit. All right. So I hope you've all been well. Okay, now I've asked you. I'm one of those people right now that I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask you how you are just so I can talk about myself. So now it's good to know that you're doing good. I want to let you know that I'm fucking fantastic. I'm absolutely back on my absolute bullshit, okay? So last week, the episode I had, okay, all right, I'm addressing it. Podcast last week wasn't the best. I was in a lull, you know, like not an LOL, an LUL. I think that's how you spell it. Wasn't feeling my best, but I'm fucking fantastic now. And my creativity is back in ways that I didn't even think was fucking possible, okay? I feel like I'm just... I feel like I've tried crack for the first time. You know what I mean? I'm really back on it. So I've been doing lots of writing, which I'm really fucking hyped on. I actually wrote out a sketch that I was going to do, like that I'm thinking of doing, sorry. But the way that like the style of it that I want it filmed, I'm going to need a camera operator for it. But part of me is thinking, fuck it, just fucking do it on sticks the way you're doing it now. Do it yourself. Like, it's fine. If you've watched Trevor Wallace on YouTube, which I highly recommend you do, that dude is fucking hilarious. Trevor Wallace has the best, like, some of the best sketches I've seen out there. That's the kind of style of filming I was after for this, but I'm just thinking, fuck, man, I just kind of want to get this out. So, yeah, I'm stoked on that. You know what? Fuck it. I don't have much going on today. I might actually kind of free up my schedule to do this because I really need to fucking get some stuff happen on my YouTube channel. It's kind of, you know, I haven't touched it in a while. So I'm going to get back onto that. But yeah, right now I'm doing a victory lap for my mental health. You know what I mean? Like I'm feeling great. I probably sound a bit funny just because it is like 9 a.m. But I'm really feeling myself again, you know, like a few years ago, I was writing like you fucking wouldn't believe it. I'm surprised I didn't start like pumping out content then because I was writing every fucking day. And I'm not like, again, like I just hate being those people. It's like, oh, look at all this shit that I was doing, but like I didn't. It's the same motherfuckers that were like, oh, I wish I put money in Bitcoin, like, you know, 10 years ago, but I fucking didn't, and now I'm still broke. I didn't retire early off Bitcoin. But yeah, like it's true. Like a few years ago, I was doing lots of fucking writing for different things, just trying out different writing styles. But I wish I was kind of pumping out stuff then, but I'm doing it now. And I'm really hyped that I'm back on my bullshit, and I'm gonna take a victory sip on this mug. I hope you guys can see it. I hope this camera's like, well, spent like $5,000 on this fucking camera, so I really hope you do. You can see it, but cheers to that, guys. If you've got a mug in your hand or a cup, cheers it with me. Let's take a sip, all right? Oh, that's some nice. I'm going to take another one. Oh, that's good. That is good. Fucking cold water. But yeah, fuck it. I might actually just film that today because it would be pretty fun. It's just annoying trying to film shit yourself. Because like obviously I've got to get like the lapel mics on. I got to make sure the audio's good. I've got to use this recorder, which I can just like kind of clap in, which is fine. But when you're doing all this shit yourself, it does get taxing. But at the same time, if you don't do it yourself, then it's never going to fucking get done. So, you can't wait for these opportunities. You just got to fucking do it yourself. But yeah, I'm really, really hyped on that. I've been watching a lot of stuff lately as well. Like I've been watching like a lot of different movies and TV shows just when I can. Like I might have them playing in the background, or if I've got like a dedicated amount of time, I might just sit there and actually watch something, because it's interesting now as a filmmaker watching shit. Sorry. I've got really bad indigestion. I know I've said it before, but fucking hell, man, it is absolutely taxing when I'm trying to record a podcast. Before this, I'm fine. I don't have like this crazy indigestion, burps, and disgusting noises coming from every ounce of my body. But the second I start rolling on this, they're just like, nope, yeah, we're gonna come in and fuck you up. So I have to deal with that. That's just what it's like getting older, I assume. Like, I'm showing my age. Yeah, I'm turning 30 this year, but I've heard from many people that your body just starts doing weird shit, and that's definitely it. Like, okay, all right, I'm just gonna say it today. My armpit started hurting. My armpit, like I have a pain in my armpit. I don't know if I've got armpit cancer, or if it. No, I think I know what it's from. It's from working out. But it's just weird. I was like, why does my armpit hurt? Armpits aren't supposed to hurt. So that's what this is now the podcast where old dude just complains. That's all you're gonna get. It's like Bill Burr, but way less funny. So if you want like Walmart $2 shop version of Bill Burr, you've come to the right place. I'm not going to be in The Mandalorian. Maybe I can get like an extras role in, I don't know, like The Bachelor or something, because Australia doesn't really do much TV. Might do that. That could be fucking interesting. Just me complaining to people. I'm sure The Bachelor and all that type of shit have background actors. Well, let's be real, they're all fucking actors. But anyways, in saying that, with going back to the point of watching stuff again, sorry, that was a fucking big tangent. I recently rewatched The Social Network. Now, if you don't know about The Social Network, just stop watching this and watch that movie. But it's about the Facebook story. Jesse Eisenberg plays Mark Zuckerberg. David Fincher directed it. And Aaron Sorkin wrote it. So, it's just fucking like up there, top tier movie. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie of all time, because everything about that in terms of the cinematography, the storytelling, everything is just fucking spot on. I I can't really fault the movie. The only thing I can fault it on is that I wish it just kind of kept going. And I'm not saying, oh, like it was so good, I wish it didn't end. But the story that they told was really interesting because it's like they're showing the success story of Facebook, but intertwined with all the lawsuits Mark Zuckerberg got caught up in. So it's very interesting of like this dynamic. Welcome to Film Review, by the way, with Warwick. But it is really interesting the way that they kind of told that story of like these two kids in college trying to come up with like a new social media thing, and then but oh no, he fucked these people over, and like this guy's a dick, and they've got lawsuits and blah blah. Like it's really, really fucking interesting. But it got me thinking like about other movies about successful companies. Like obviously there's one about Steve Jobs there's one of Ashton Kutcher, but they remade it like 2 years later with a different actor. I don't know what happened there, but they did that. But I like these types of companies, right? Like Apple, Facebook and stuff, they've had a huge impact on our like society kind of thing. But it makes me wonder what does it mean for the future of movies? You know, like we've got other big tech companies. We've got Uber. You know, we've got Snapchat, like an Airbnb, for example. Like, are they going to make movies about that? Because that, I don't think it would be that interesting. Facebook is interesting because it was like one of the first. Like, obviously, you know, we had MySpace and shit beforehand, but Facebook was like the biggest. Eventually, like everyone from the emos on MySpace, shout out to my fellow emos on MySpace, to like, you know, yeah, like their parents and shit, they all kind of came together, and Facebook was the place to have. Whereas MySpace, when I was a teenager, it was just teenagers. Like you didn't know anyone that was old that had a MySpace. So yeah, but I just got me thinking, I'm like, what's the story of Airbnb? All these dudes. I think like the story of Airbnb is like these two dudes in San Francisco were renting out like their air mattress in their place so they could afford it, and then that's how they came up with the idea for Airbnb. Watch me get that story completely wrong, but like imagine that as a movie like that. At that point, it's just like 2 hours of nerds coming up with billion-dollar companies. Really, at least with Facebook, that story was interesting in the sense that like Mark Zuckerberg was a real fuckwit and like screwed people over. So it was interesting to be like, oh, you're doing this really successful thing, but you're fucking everyone over while you're doing it. So, yeah, it just got me thinking about like, well, what other tech or just success story movies would there be in the future? Because it probably wouldn't really go any further than it already has. So, yeah, if you haven't watched it, watch The Social Network. It's a great fucking movie. I was thinking, I had another bit for that. And I fucking let slip. But in the meantime, I have been rewatching Entourage, which is like a fun show. Just a bunch of dudes in LA trying to be successful. Isn't that what like everyone wants, really? Yeah, I don't know. Like Entourage is like probably one of my guilty pleasure shows just because it's like, it's just a fun fucking show, okay? So, anyways, moving on. I'm going to say it. Absolutely, unequivocally, fuck the tennis. Fuck the tennis. Now, I know this is something that you probably all don't know about me. Before I go on that point, I was actually going to go back to... Oh, no, I lost it again. Anyways, fuck. Oh, man, I got to wrap. I'm probably going to have to wrap this up soon because I'm fucking having brain farts. Give me a sec. Yeah, absolutely fuck the tennis, honestly. So, we have COVID outbreaks now in Melbourne for the first time in forever because the tennis is going on and workers at the hotel are getting sick. And I just checked it, and we've got 2 new cases. Are you fucking serious? God fucking damn it. I think they're all hotel workers. I hope so. Anyways, fuck the tennis because, yeah, now it's breaking our streak. And One thing I do have to mention though is, do people forget that we're still living in a fucking pandemic? I went to 7-Eleven yesterday morning, put some fuel in the car, and as I walked in, there were like 8 people in there not wearing masks. Like everyone that was in there, I was the only one wearing a mask, and I was kind of looking around like, did all of you forget that we're currently living through a pandemic? Just me? Okay, cool. All right, whatever. So, and they all looked at me like I was the weird one. And I'm like, no, don't fucking come to me for that. I'm trying to keep my shit safe. You know, like I know we're doing pretty good down here, down under in Australia, but no, fuck off. So, yeah. It's just exhausting, this whole like back and forth. Like I just don't know why the tennis went ahead, honestly. And the tennis can go ahead, but live gigs can't. And now we have to deal with these cases because they're coming from the fucking hotels that the tennis players are from. And it would have just been so much easier if we just didn't have the fucking tennis. We can live without the tennis for a year. You know, we've had to cancel all these other events. I'm sure we're okay with not doing the tennis, okay? But the funny bit that came out of that is that someone that tested positive went to Off Your Tree. Now, if there's any international listeners here, how can I describe Off Your Tree? If Hot Topic sold bongs and did piercings, that's Off Your Tree. I'm sure that there would have to be an American version of it. That's probably the best way I can describe it. But yeah, someone went to Off Your Tree, and I personally didn't think they still existed. I thought they were just like a myth of a shop still, or like a relic, you know, because as a teenager, you're like, oh, Off Your Tree, oh, they sell bongs, how fucking cool is that? And like, oh, they do piercings, like it's this cool, edgy shop. I honestly didn't think it still fucking existed, but it does. And honestly, this person testing positive and like, okay, first off, how embarrassing would it have to be that you tested positive and you had to tell people where you've been and you've been there? What if you went to like a sex shop or something like that and you were in some weird kinky shit? You didn't want people to know, but you had to let them know that you went to this shop, and then it gets blasted all over the news and you're like, oh fuck. And because Australia, we don't have many cases, so if you've got like 1 or 2 cases, everyone knows who the fuck that person is. Like it's very easy to find out who that person is. But the person that went Off Your Tree, that's probably the first promotion that Off Your Tree have had for a while. I'm assuming they don't have much advertising budget, because that's what I mean. I didn't think it existed. I thought so. They've obviously not been running ads, but now that I've said it multiple times, watch my social media just be all fucking Off Your Tree shit. No, I don't want a Bob Marley t-shirt, okay? I'm good, okay? Yeah, it's just, imagine just being there and then like just sitting there in the room and they're like, all right, so where have you been in the last 24 hours? And you're like, oh, I went to this place, ate at this place, I went around here, blah, blah. And I also went to, excuse me, what was that? I went to Off Your Tree. One more time. Sorry, I didn't get that. Where have you been? Fuck. I've been to Off Your Tree. And then silence. And then one of the contact tracers just goes. That is how I imagine that conversation went. I really feel for that person. Maybe it was a diversion though. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they went to some other obscure place and they were like, "Oh, I gotta think of a less obscure place. Off Your Tree, that'll do." And the person was there for like half an hour. So I don't know if they were getting a piercing or if they were just like walking around or whatever. But yeah, I just. So if you're wondering, we're probably good because no one fucking goes to Off Your Tree anymore. Yeah, so that was interesting. Yeah, honestly, fuck the tennis, man. Just give me this fucking vaccine just so we can stop flip-flopping around. I'm sick of this whole like not knowing if shit's gonna go ahead or not, because there's people, there's comics that are trying to book shows, there's bands that are probably trying to book gigs as well, and this shit can't go ahead if we're just constantly fucking having to deal with more cases and the UK COVID and a South African strain of COVID. Bro, are you talking COVID or are you talking weed at this point? Like, are we gonna go into a shop and we're like, yeah, bro, I got that South African for you, bro. That's how I imagine it goes. But yeah, so we're going to finish on finance. Welcome to the finance hour. So, as you might have known from the last Game Stonk episode, I started investing in stocks. Only because I genuinely have found an interest for a while in it, and now I was like, fuck it, now's like the perfect time to do it. So, because of this whole GameStop situation, and man, I'm so glad I didn't put my money in GameStop. I was this close to putting money into fucking GameStop when it was at like 220 or something like that, and then went up to 350 or 400, and now it's down. I just checked then, it's down 16%. It's down to $50. I would have lost a butt ton of money if I fucking put money in there. So I'm really glad I didn't do that. Yeah, I was gonna put money into AMC as well, the theaters. How's AMC doing? AMC stock. AMC is also down 10%, so I'm really glad I didn't put my money into that. But no, I'm just fucking around with Oz stocks at the moment. And I don't know if I said it in the last podcast episode, I might have said it as a joke, but I'm generally putting money into cannabis companies in Australia because cannabis is like a growing thing in Australia in terms of like CBD oil and stuff like that. Hold up. Man, so sorry about that. I think I got to stop doing my podcast first thing in the morning because I think after I have my coffee, my indigestion gets really bad. Anyways, CBD oil. I don't think weed will ever come legal in Australia unless we have a change of government, because the fucking dinosaurs at the moment would never legalize weed. Here in Victoria, our premier is not. He's not like a conservative. I'm trying to say it so everyone gets it. Like he's Labor. Oversee. If you're American, that's like the version of like a Democrat, I guess. So we actually have weed farms here in Melbourne for CBD oil use. And I don't know if actually no, you can get weed medically. I know someone that has it, which is dope. I assume it would probably cost a lot of money because it's like taxpayer shit. So, the finances of that would be different, but that's crazy. He's got a script and he can legally, I think he can just smoke it at home, but if he gets pulled over and he's got it with him, he's fine because he's like, I've got a script for it, which is bananas to think of. But if you're interested in that space, that's where we're at. Weed is now becoming like legal medically here in Victoria, at least. I'm assuming it is in Australia, but anyways, yeah. So I'm putting my money in some weed stocks, and it's going pretty good. Because like I'm telling you, this is kind of like the future. But I'm learning that so I put my money in, and I'm gonna hold it there like for at least a year. I have no intention to really pull this out because I'm like, all right, we're still really early stages of CBD stuff in Australia. It's just going to keep growing over the years and years and years. So maybe in 5 years' time, I might think of pulling the money out. Plus, it helps with tax purposes and all that type of shit. But I still check my stocks every single day. I check the news on like how it's going, and I'm like refreshing my app to see if my stocks are going up or down, like every 2 minutes. even though I'm not going to put it out ever, I'm just really interested to see how it goes because I am fascinated by people making money and stuff. Like, obviously, if the GameStop situation, deep fucking value on Reddit, put in $50,000 and he got up to $50 million. So, like, I just find that shit really interesting, like those stories of people that it's like, oh, I did this and now I have this. And I know people personally, I'm not going to dox anyone. I know people personally that have been making some good money on stock. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go in as well because, yeah, I don't have a retirement plan. I don't have like a retirement fund because I've been self-employed for basically my whole career. So I don't have any money. Actually, fuck, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I had such less money in my superannuation, that's like our retirement fund here in Australia, that they refunded it. They put it back in my account. They're like, you don't have enough in here to even think about retiring. And then they just gave it was like a couple $100 and they just gave it back to me. I didn't ask for it. I just woke up to a fucking email being like, you haven't used this in years. Because last time I had it was when I was working at McDonald's when I was fucking like 21 or something like that. So they gave it back to me and I was like, all right, don't have a retirement fund. So that's why I'm investing in shit. Let your money make you money. That's just some fucking dumb shit that I hear all the time when it comes to stocks. But it is true, you know, you gotta like let your money make your money if you're doing that. Anyways, yeah, so I'm obsessed, absolutely fucking obsessed with refreshing my shit, checking it all the time, checking the news. I literally have the tabs open right in front of me. Like I've got my news tab, and I just refreshed it. I just refreshed it right here in front of me, you know, because the money I put in weed stocks, it's growing. Like that stock in the US market is growing today. And I'm like, oh, what does that mean for me today? You know, market opens in half an hour in Australia. Does that mean I'm going to have more money? But yeah, it's just like this. And I've been pretty open about it. But I got diagnosed with addictive personality. I don't even know if it's actually like if there's like a medical term for it because I don't know if there's actually even treatment for it. But I remember when I first sought help in 2015, that's what they diagnosed me with because, you know, I was addicted to the wrong things. I'm not going to go into it. I was addicted to the wrong things. But they were basically like, hey, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. So you got to channel it into something that's more positive. And yeah, I went through it. I went through some weird fucking transitions. Like I'm addicted. I wouldn't say I'm a gambling addict, but the idea of like putting some money in and getting money is like such a dopamine rush. And I think that's the same with everyone. So I can't really pin my like illness, I guess, on that. And it's weird to call it like an illness, but if I'm using fucking medical terms, here we are. So I used to put money in the pokies all the time, and I still do. My rule of thumb now is if I go somewhere for dinner and there's a pokies room, I'm putting $50 in because I only go somewhere to eat out for dinner where there's pokies a couple of times a year. It's like maximum 3-4 times a year. So I'm not losing that much money. But it's just like, yeah, it's like next time I organize dinner with my wife, I'm just going to start looking up where places have pokies. Like, oh, this pub doesn't have pokies. That's all right. We'll go to this next place instead. No, I'm kidding. But I used to, fuck man, like even like it was pretty bad with pokies. And it's such a sucker's game. Like at least with stuff like stocks, like what I'm doing with stocks is literally gambling. Okay, don't get it fucked up. If you're going into stock investment, it is a gamble. It is straight up gambling, but it's more educated guesses. You know, you invest in companies that you like, what they're doing. They might have an announcement where they're going to earn like they're going to get some funding or some shit. Like it's more educated guesses, and you're like, well, at least this isn't going to make me lose all my money in 30 seconds. I went to the pokies a few weeks ago, actually, and I put in $50 and I lost it straight away. I think I won once and I won $2 and it was gone. Like, I was the quickest $50 I've ever lost in my life. So then I thought, yeah, stock market, let's do it. But yeah, like I'm going to say like 8 years ago. Where are we? 2021. Yeah, about 8 years ago, something like that. I used to go to the casino here in Melbourne all the time. Like, so when I first moved to Melbourne, moved here with a girl, didn't work out, we broke up. And I was kind of like alone, really, alone in a new city. But it was true. So I would spend my days like bumming around the city, trying to find shit to do. Because I was like, awkward 21-year-old at the time, I think, and trying to find ways to meet friends. I didn't know. So yeah, I went to the casino a lot. I didn't have much money then. I really didn't have much money then. I was living paycheck to paycheck for a long time. And I would go to the casino probably a couple times a week and put $20 in. And I had a rule of thumb of if I was to win, then I would help someone out. If I was like going on a date or something like that, I'd pay, because it's like, it's like, I was trying to justify pissing my money away when I didn't really have that much money to fucking spend. Maybe that's like maybe I can talk about that in a different episode, about all the ways that I pissed away. Actually, maybe I will do that. Maybe next week I will do a Hood Rich episode where I'll kind of recap the shit that I did when I didn't have much money to get to where I'm at, whether it be helping me out in my career, or I was really trying to impress a girl, or fucking whatever. I think that might be a really interesting topic. If you think it's an interesting topic, you can email me at matesratespot@gmail.com, and then you can give me other topics to talk about as well. Oh, that is some fresh water. It's not coffee. I'll probably shit my pants if I have another coffee. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And again, I gotta say that me talking about weed stocks in Australia, it's not financial advice. That's what I'm learning. You gotta preface it with not financial advice. Otherwise, people will take what you say seriously, and then people lose money, and then you get blamed for it. So I am not a financial advisor, but I just really like the stock. Yeah, I don't know. I just find weed stuff interesting. So yeah, and you know what? I think that's kind of it. I want to kind of wrap up. I was trying to find other shit to talk about, because the thing is, right, during the week there's always news happening, whether it be celebrity, internet, whatever. And some of it's really interesting and makes me want to talk about for a while. And some of it is just like one-liners, For example, Caitlin and I watched the Kris Jenner house tour. We love watching like Architectural Digest and like just rich people's shit, like houses and stuff like that. So Architectural Digest is a YouTube channel that just deal with all of that. And they did one on Kris Jenner's house, and we were just making jokes the whole time, like, because it's just like, oh, it's just so fake. She was like, oh, this is the kitchen. Everyone comes together and cook meals. I was like, you mean your chef? Your chef cooks meals. You're Kris Jenner. You don't cook meals. If all your kids have personal chefs, then you fucking definitely have personal chef. So yeah, it's just like stuff like that. It's like funny one-liners, but I can't grow it into a talking point for this podcast. So yeah, maybe soon, because the vaccine is like definitely getting rolled out in the States. Like something like 30 million people already have it, but in Australia, our vaccine starts like next week, I think. And you can tell by the look on my face, I'm fucking pumped for it. Yeah, so maybe now that the vaccine rollout is happening, a lot more interesting shit will happen. That would be really good. And I just remembered that I didn't clap in for this podcast episode. So I'm going to have to do a clap out. Do you want to do it with me? Let's just do it together. All right. This is what I do before every podcast episode. Mates Rates podcast episode 20. Take 1. There you go. Now you learned something new. All right. I'm going to wrap it there. I'm literally just kind of fucking killing time now. But yeah, thank you again for listening to another episode. I feel like doing morning episodes is really good for me. It's kind of fresh. But I might switch it up and do some later in the day, like record some podcast episodes later in the day when my brain has woken up. So that's why I like all these podcast episodes might have been shorter than they normally are, because I've been trying to do them in the morning. But it's honestly the only time I can really do it, because I just have other work and other projects going on that I really need to dedicate time to. So to sit down here, set all this shit up and record for, half an hour, 45 minutes, it takes up like a fair chunk of my day. But I hope you have been enjoying these episodes. I really can't believe I've been sitting on my ass for 20 episodes and talking. Thank you for coming along with this journey. If you enjoyed this podcast and you're listening to it on iTunes, give it a 5-star rating. If you're watching the YouTube version, remember, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And I got an email as well, so fucking let's chat. materacepod@gmail.com. And that's all for today. Have a fucking great week, everyone, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace, love, Wu-Tang is forever. Bye.